Well, this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I have a moment here to go over and learn with you. That's Hashem, learning together. Something from the Zohar here on this week's Parsha. This is Parsha V'Yeshev. Today is the day of Chesed, the first day of Chesed. And this is all our interactions really run through that Midah. So here we come into the concept of, now we're talking about Yosef and his brothers and the things that happened to Yosef. The Zohar wants to start off right away and lay a certain foundation, which is a theme in the Zohar itself. I guess we'll read up at the top. We'll see how much of this we could read here and understand. It says, "V'tochazi, come and see. In the lo natre lahai kaima kudsha. Those people who do not guard their bris. In other words, they get involved with sexual affairs. Garme Parisha ben Yisachar the Vishemaya, they called a separation, that causes a separation between the Jewish people and their Father in heaven. Begin to Sartem, and they turned aside, Vadatem, and then they started worshiping Elohim, Achirim, other gods, Bishtachabisam, Lahem, and they bowed down to them. So he's over Kislev altar as Hashemayim below Yihya Mata. Then what happens is that the rain stops falling. The heavens close up, and there's no rain. The high eagle command the sagir la'allahu achra. So sagir la'allahu. This is like the case of a person that bows down to another god. The mishakir b'hai as kaima kadisha, because what happens there and what he wants to say is that the sexual power of the Avodah Zarah is overwhelming, and he says that a person gets involved in that. The God Kaima Kadisha is so he says the Mishaker B'chai Oz Kaima, that he lies. In other words, he pretends that he's Kadosh, even that, but whatever it would be. So he says he lies about his bris. The God Kaima Kadisha isn't there Ba'alma Goyos, but then the other hand is like this. When the Jewish people are sexually pure, that means that we guard ourselves from the infractions that are enumerated in the Torah. So he says then Kodesh Baruch Hu, he gives them a blessing. The Arka Ba'oma. Let's see what Arka means. Let's see. I saw it yesterday. La Arka Ba'oma. Az Noisim Kodesh Baruch Hu Barachos La Malukadeh La Hashpia. Arka means to pour out. Ba'oma. Kamadat Amar Geshem the Davos Tanif Elokim. So he says the rain of gifts, that is what Hashem will bring down. Nachaloschon Vanila Atakokananto. We have to really look at that pasuk here and let's see what it says. Well, we'll go over to the Matuk Medabash and we'll read him and we'll see what he has to say. He says down here, we're about down here at the bottom over here. We are on page Kuf Yodalad, if I didn't say it before, and if anyone has this sefer, I can look it up, read along with me. He says the Zohar said Ray Elu Shalosh Shomrim Laos Bris Kodesh, because in many places, and this is a theme that comes back and forth in the Zohar, is the concept of the Jewish people and guarding our bris. So he says Gormin Pirud Bein Yisrael Davabikum Shebashamayim. They cause a separation between the Israel and their Father in heaven. So he says now that's a basic idea. Let me get this back on track here. So the heavens will close up. And Mepharshim explained like this: Brisa, a person who misuses his sexuality. It's like bowing down to other gods. Shemeshaker ba'os bris kodesh, because he's lying about the kedusha of his bris. Because bris hakodesh nishbach ba'olam karoi. But so when the bris is guarded the way that it should be, kaden kucha barichu yihiv birakon la'elo la'arka ba'al. But then when the Jewish people are keeping the bris and growing in Torah, and all of the rules that the Torah has in regards to relationships, between sexual relationships particularly, That's what the Zohar is talking about. And guard them. Oz nosin the Kodesh Baruch Hu brachos lamal. Then the Kodesh Baruch Hu calls bracha. Bracha is also lashon brecha, which means a flow, like a stream. Rashbi mata ba'olam hazeh. So there's aspects of eternity come into us. Elohim b'nidam v'betate b'tazel gashmi bracha. Nachalasa b'nila. Now, what does this pasuk mean? He said, Pirish nachalascha, your inheritance, hayefa, that is weak, v'rebetzameya, the geshamim, and is thirsty for rain. Ata kananta al yedei gashmi bracha al yada, by guarding the bris, you will call the gashmi bracha to flow. Now, let me see if there's a little something else I can do. I just have to take a break here, and let me look at the next part. So continuing on, let's look at the pasuk that we had at the end of the last paragraph. Over there it says Geshem Nedavos, a generous rain, Tonif Elokim, so that causes Hashem to pour down Nachalascha to his inheritance, the Jewish people, the Nila, who are weak, Ata Konanta, but now you establish them. Now, what does this mean? It means we go through all kinds of changes all the time. And this is a bracha that's coming to us, and it's going to make its way. Geshem the double. So what does it mean, this rain of gift? The Geshem the Re'usa. It means the Geshem that is coming as a result of it being accepted. God Israel Kucha Barichu Bekanesi Sahar, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu once is aroused for the Jewish people. And he wants to pour bracha onto us. Then looking at your people and the weakness of your people, this is when you come and you build them up. Nachalaso Eden Yisrael, when it says it's inheritance, he's talking about us. The Eden Achsante the Kuchabarichu, because we are the inheritors of Kuchabarichu. Kamadat Omer, like you say, like this, Yaakov Hevel Nachalaso. Yaakov is the love of his inheritance. Vanilla do Knesset Yisrael, and when he talks about the weakness of the Jewish people, that's talking about Knesset Yisrael, which is another word also for Malchus. Because the Jewish people ourselves and the Shechina now has to live in other lands. The Tzachiyach of the Mishtet, which are very thirsty to drink of words of Torah. Then that you see that she's her weakness. God, how gesha the reusi is here, but when this water, this flow of abundant water comes from up above, and understand that the word water always refers to chesed. Then you will be built up, you'll be established. And this we say like this. Shemayim va'arach v'kol heilechem, the heaven and the earth and all of their hosts, kulu kaima al kiyum midor, they all will exist because on this foundation. Dechsev is a pasuk in Yirmiyah. In lo barisi yom v'layla, if you don't keep my breath day and night, chukas shemayim va'aretz lo samti, then the chukas, that is the establishment of the proper order in the heavens and the earth, I'm not going to make it be like that. Begin kach, and for this reason, is the you have to be careful about your bris, and that is when has been explained. Is a begin kach the siv, and this reason is written Behi Yosef Yefei Toar Yefei Myra. It says like this, and Yosef was beautiful. He was beautiful in form and he was beautiful in appearance. Basre Kasiv, and then after that it said Vakatisa Esav Adonov as Enecha El Yosef, that the eyes of the wife of his master was directed then at Yosef. So this is a general theme that we see in the Zohar, that where there is an Avera, especially in the Pagama Bris department, and that Avera takes place, it makes an opening for accusations in all different kinds of different situations. You want to talk about Gehenna on earth, that's where it starts. So now let's see a little bit of the Matok B'Devash and flush it out a little bit better. He said, Vasoda Dover, when we had this concept, the abundant rain. Zeru Geshem shall ratzim al yedech aliyas man. This is the Geshem that comes This is the geshem that Hashem wants to give to us. And it happens as a result of our prayers and our Torah that we learn. So then he said, when he wants us, and he wants to pour bracha onto us. So he says that we are his inheritance. He went through that pasuk and then the chalas of your people who are weakened. You're going to straighten them out. You're going to strengthen them. It explains. Your inheritance, that's us. Shame. That the Jewish people are the inheritance of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Masha Kosev Zechad Ne'emer al Knesset Yisrael. The word Ratzit is talking about the Knesset Yisrael, which is she Nilis Be'eretz Secheres Begalos, which is suffering in the land of other people, where we have to live by the rules of people who do not know our God and do not know our Torah. Because in the land of others, and look how we live now. Look our situation. I saw yesterday that said 71% of young Jewish people are marrying Gentiles. So how we are suffering and how we are weak in this case. But through Mayim Nukvim and bringing through our prayers, we'll bring down bracha, which will change that. That's what he's saying. Va'oz hi nila. Then the Jewish people living in Galus were weak. Because Geshmei Ratzon nitnin the Knesset Yisrael, but when these Geshmei Ratzon, in other words, the pouring out of bracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Az yesh bin ben v'chamader ba'olam, then there is building, strengthening, establishment in the world. Now the Matok adds this: for the Son of Lomar, Ayedecha Shefa Hayored Mitiferes the Malchus. Now we understand that prayer causes a yichud between opposites. It causes oneness between male and female. That's what he means when he said once Tiferes represents Zeranpin, and Malchus, of course, is Malchus. He nidnes v'nisakenis. When those two come together, that is the building of Malchus, and she is rebuilt. And he says, let's see a little bit more. And he says, Hashemayim v'ha'aretz v'kol tzivoam kulam ondim al bris zeh. So this is the really important part that he wants to make. He wants to say that the entire existence of the universe and everything that's on it, on our planet, depends on the keeping of this bris, because the bris is the way of the flow of blessing. So therefore, a person has to be careful about this. His to start, not preening him or herself too much. Like curling the hair, getting the hair just a certain way, like the rabbis explained. Because this arouses the Yetzer Hara. Oh, he thinks he's so. It's talking about narcissism. He's so special. He's so special. Because for this reason, it's written that Yosef Tzaddik was making himself look beautiful. And as a result of that, this aroused the wife, because one has to understand that Kodesh Baruch Hu is everything, and the balance of the bris is critical. And so, since Yosef Tzaddik represents the bris itself of Zeranpin, so therefore all the shefa and the bracha that could possibly come into the world has to flow through him. And since he starts showing a little bit of conceit, then immediately over against that comes trouble. That's the Ashes Adona, Lisa Eina V'lov. Now she's starting to look at him. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this has been the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. Morning Zohar, 17, Kislev.